Good day to you, welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Nexor and this is Nexor Reacts. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to join myself and the Awakened family, the best family on YouTube. And also hit that like button now to get that out of the way so it doesn't disrupt your viewing experience later on. So with all that out of the way, buckle up for the most unusual videos that I managed to find from the internet today. Let's go. And on that note, we've reached the end of part 2 of today's conspiracy compilation. I hope you enjoyed diving down these rabbit holes as much as I did. Just a quick reminder, we'll be doing this all again tomorrow. Same time, same place, so make sure you come back for your daily dose of deep dives, hidden truths, and mind-bending mysteries. And if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, I highly recommend you do. There are even more dark, fascinating, and just downright unsettling rabbit holes waiting for you there. And also, whilst you're at it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also drop a like on this video. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.